everyone, it's me, Mrs. Stafford, and welcome to the month of April. I hope you all had an awesome spring break and a wonderful Easter. This month, our theme is called Story Time. Jesus told many stories and many parables, so we have special guests that will be sharing one of their favorite stories. Here is one now.
With special guest, Mr. Venduris, junior high teacher.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mr. Venduris, and I'm happy to be here with you today. Because I'm the history teacher in junior high, I like to find stories that have something to do with history, because they oftentimes have something to do with Jesus. And you may not think that when you first hear these, but I hope you'll see it as we go. The first one is the story that is actually a song called Home on the Range. Sometimes this has been called the Cowboys' National Anthem. Here is the America of wide open spaces and boundless optimism, the land where seldom is heard a discouraging word. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Where the air is so pure, the zephyrs so free, the breezes so balmy and light, that I would not exchange my home on the range for all the cities so bright. How often at night, when the heavens are bright, with the light of the glittering stars, have I stood here amazed and asked as I gazed if their glory exceeds that of ours. Oh, give me a land where the bright diamond sand flows leisurely down the stream, where the graceful white swan goes gliding along like a maid in a heavenly dream. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. The second story I'd like to share with you is one called Johnny Appleseed. You may have heard of him before also. His real name was John Chapman. He lived a simple life, giving to others, and it made him a legend in his own day. This humble pioneer spirit lives on in the lore of Johnny Appleseed. There's a wanderer, they say, in the Ohio Valley. He comes by at apple blossom time. Get out of bed early, just as the sun rises, and you might see smoke hanging over the orchard as his breakfast fire dies low. Wait a while longer, and a breeze comes rustling through the trees. The old farmers wink and smile. Here he comes, waking the blossoms to a new spring, they say. That's Johnny Appleseed passing by. John Chapman was his real name. Folks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, say he had a big flowering orchard there, way back when the country was new. Day after day, he sat on his fence and watched covered wagons rolling by, full of pioneer families headed west. Rough lives await them, full of hardship and toil, he thought. What can I do to help? He watched the wagons go rumbling by, and an idea took root in his mind. It grew and grew until it turned into a plan. So he filled a bag with apple seeds and slung it over his shoulder. Then he wandered away. John walked through woods filled with oak trees and hickory trees. He crossed fields where tall grasses waved in the wind. All this time, only walking. Every once in a while, beside a stream or in a clearing, he would pause and untie his bag. With a pointed stick, he pushed holes into the ground, then stooped and planted some apple seeds. He covered them well, knowing they would grow in the sunshine and rain. When the wagons came rolling west, the seedlings were green and strong. They were growing well, off to a good start. John carefully dug them up and gave them to the pioneer families. Set them in the earth, he said, and someday you'll harvest nature's jewels. Apples, plenty of apples, apple butter, apple sauce, apple cider, apple jelly, and apple pie. The settlers smiled and took the seedlings gladly. They planted orchards beside their new homes and filled them with apple trees. People began to call him Johnny Appleseed. On he went. When his shoes wore out, he walked in his bare feet. Whenever he tore a hole in his shirt, he just took his needle and thread and sewed on a patch. For a hat, he wore the old tin pot he used to cook his dinner. This is all I need, he would say. God has made me rich, for I'm helping my fellow man. Far and wide he traveled, across hills and valleys, through summer storms and winter snow. When night fell, he stretched out on a hillside. A mound of moss was his pillow. His starry sky was his roof. When morning broke, he would rise and walk on. His orchard spread across the frontier, and so did Johnny Appleseed's fame. Then, they say, the birds perched on his shoulder, and deer ate from his hand. Sometimes he would pause and play with bear cubs while the mother bear looked on. When a log cabin came into view, Johnny Appleseed was always welcome to rest his weary feet. Around the big fireplace the family would gather. The children lay on the floor, and Johnny would pull his Bible from his coffee sack shirt. Here's news straight from the heavens, he say. He would read of Noah's Ark or the Sermon on the Mount. Ohio filled up with fences and barns and orchards. Time to be moving on, Johnny said. So he headed west, planting seeds for the country as it moved west too. Some say he came to rest in Indiana beneath the bough of an apple tree. Others say he just kept walking. Who knows how far he got? All across America, in the hills of Tennessee, the plains of Nebraska, the slopes of the Rocky Mountains, the wide valleys of California, people point to apple orchards and say, Johnny Appleseed planted these trees. Maybe he's been your way too. Johnny Appleseed was a man who loved God, and we could see that in his actions. There was even a song that went with this, and the song went like this. Oh, the Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord is good to me. Oh, and every seed I sow will grow into a tree, and someday there'll be apples there for everyone in the world to share. Oh, the Lord is good to me. Oh, the earth is good to me, and so I thank the earth for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The earth is good to me. In the song Home on the Range, we see a story that celebrates the beauty of the earth around us, the land, the animals, the stars, and the wondrous things made by our Creator God. In the story of Johnny Appleseed, we see a man who greatly appreciated what God created and wanted to share the blessings of the apple tree with as many people as he could. Even though there may be trouble in the world, there is always something good nearby. Maybe it's something in nature, or maybe it's someone who wants to serve God by helping others. You and I can be people who appreciate what God has made, and we can be of help to those around us. I hope that today is a day when you can do both of those things. And the next time you take a bite of a delicious apple or see the stars in the sky, I hope you remember the loving God who made both of those just for you.
Thank you, Mr. Venduris, for those awesome stories. And yes, I agree. I hope we can appreciate God's awesome and beautiful creation and be helpful and kind to others. Well, I hope you enjoyed these stories as much as I did, and I can't wait to hear the stories that are coming up this month. So until then, take care and God bless, and see you next time.